Hi everybody, Dhaman Mehta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. For those of you that don't know, I've read fanfiction for like very long time now, 16, 17 years I think, and I was inspired by a thread I saw on the Sufficient Velocity forums to go back through my own favorites list on the first site that I started reading fanfiction on, fanfiction.net, and to reread every single story on my list and see if I think they still deserve to stay on my list or not. See if my tastes still match up. I've been doing this for like 5 years, and it's still got a bit to go. I think I still have like 200 stories on my list, so we'll start diving in. I've sorted these by publication date, so that way, even if things update, the order should still be the same. So I've reached 2014, so I still got a while to go. But let's dive in, starting with SlayXFate by the Hero of the End. This is a Fate Stay Night and Campione crossover that doesn't really do anything. It's a single chapter that is not, this is not designed as a one-shot, this is designed as an intro chapter, so doesn't really work as a story. It's just concept of, hey, Shirou, while the fight was going on with the Black Grail at the end of Fate, they got him and Saber get transported to Campione, and then he kills them and becomes a Campione. So basically this whole chapter is basically the fight scene, which is fine. It's pretty good, but there's other stories that will actually give you plot along with an action scene with this premise, and so you'll be better served with those. This is not going to stay on my list. Number 2 is Naruto, Son of Athena by TheMagicManWithThePlan. This is a Naruto crossover with Percy Jackson, and it's really enjoyable. Like, it's short, very short, and it doesn't really get anywhere story-wise, but this is crack, so it doesn't matter. The main thing is just the entertainment of seeing Naruto during the fight with Kaguya, like, they get transported to the Percy Jackson universe right at the, like, near the start of the first book, and with also a, like, chibi-fied 5-year-old like Kaguya who does not remember anything, and so just gets adopted by Naruto, as well as a QB that's now a mini fox just outside of the thing. And like, it's also just a lot, it's all that stuff it's really just ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of ridiculousness crammed into this little story. It's not really like the story and the premise was not advertised as crack, but this is really like crack. And like, we have a whole bunch more ninjas. It's not just Naruto and stuff. We get a whole bunch of other people showing up in various parts of the Percy Jackson universe and just interacting with each other and interacting with the gods. And it's just really goddamn entertaining. Oh my god, 1 second, sorry. I made a little mistake with the thing. But its short length actually, still helps it, because like I said, it's just joke after joke after joke firing out. I really enjoyed it. It's great for a quick laugh. It's going to stay on my list. Number 3 is Magic Online by Mrs. Insane One. And this is a Harry Potter Sword Art Online crossover where Harry, as a child, basically sneaks himself a copy of SAO and becomes part of the death game with the 10,000 as one of the 10,000 players, and goes through that whole time, and then afterwards wakes up at Hogwarts, and so thinks it's all batch and still thinks he's in another game. It's interesting. I enjoyed it to a degree. Like, it's like one of the interesting concepts that I don't see, that I don't remember seeing a lot of. I don't really think any of the SAO fics that I read ever actually did this, where Harry doesn't get outed as a child because he just deletes the mirror and so doesn't use the mirror item. And I don't think any other SAO fic that I've read ever actually does that, just as like small aside. Like, that's fun. And then he also sets himself up as a tracker in this game, which, like, that's, again, like, it's not really with the game because, like, the game's all sword skills, and, like, he just sets himself up as a trapper and tracker of rare items. So that's interesting where he makes his own niche in the game. He's not just another Kirito. And that leads to an interesting dynamic for the whole section where he's in SAO, and I do enjoy that part. And then when he gets to Hogwarts, and because he thinks he's in a game, his magic responds and starts giving him the game abilities, like an inventory and stuff for the game. So it's like, that's a little interesting. And because of that, he also basically has like PTSD, and so sees this world as fake, and that leads to an interesting dynamic. It makes a good read. It actually slows down, like, and it goes through, like, I want to say the first 4 years, goes up to the Triwizard Tournament, and then stops because Hermione reaches out to Japan and ends up finding Kirito and Agil, and they come back and pick Harry up and reunite with them finally. And that's basically where the story progression stops, and it just becomes exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump. And the author, like, just stopped updating it, at least on FFN, in the middle of these expedition dumps. So that's where it kind of drops the ball, but I still think all the Hogwarts parts and the early SAO parts are a very interesting read and worth a look, and it's going to stay on my list. Number 4 is Sean Bean Saves Westeros, Book 1, Sean Lends a Hand by High Plains Drifter. And this is a interesting Game of Thrones fanfic where Sean Bean, the actor, after filming season 1, just shows up, gets like transported magically into Westeros, and everybody in Westeros thinks that he's Ned Stark. And that's pretty interesting. Like, taken at face value, this is like kind of a fic where, he's it's like he's trying to fix the world of Westeros and make things better for everyone, but Ned doesn't have complete knowledge of the world, because obviously, like, I mean, Westeros, this is like right after season 1, so he doesn't know what was going on, and the books weren't done at that point. I don't even think the 5th book was out at that point when season 1 finished wrapping up, like, filming. So that's like, he's very limited on what he actually knows, and so he makes the choices that he thinks are the best with the limited information. And things like the War of the Five Kings, which is where he gets inserted to, become very, very different in how what's going on. I think it's very interesting. This story ends at like a very defining moment for, like, it ends with like a conclusion to the War of the Five Kings in a way that I don't really see often, because the few Game of Thrones fics I read, nobody backs the guy that Ned backs here. And I think it would definitely impact Westeros. I think the writing is good, and him dealing with what he knows, and also missing, his family and all the people, and also dealing with the fact that he knows these people as the actors that played the characters and stuff. He's constantly thinking of, like, this guy is like not this person, like, not you're not Eric or whatever the actor's name was and stuff like that, but like that, and it's changing. I just found it really good, and I'm not a huge Game of Thrones guy, and I still found myself having a great time. So I think if you do like Game of Thrones, I think you would be into this, and it's going to stay on my list. Number 5 is Harry Potter the RPG by Bertel. If you couldn't tell by the name of the story, this is a gamer fic where Harry gets RPG powers, and it's another one that just never gets the actual story. The entirety of this fic that they wrote, takes place during Harry's 10th year. Sorry. This takes place during Harry's year before he gets to Hogwarts, and so it's just him building up a character and like, you know, farming quests and doing stuff. But it's also not fun in that sense. Like it's this one that takes itself seriously, and so whenever stories take themselves seriously in that, like the main point is like it's gonna come from how you progress the plot and story, and this one just doesn't. It just gets drawn out, doesn't get anywhere interesting. The setup for how they get skills and stuff is not a common system. It's not the standard level up thing. It's more of a skill point based thing that I think certain other like choose your own adventure systems do. I'm not really familiar with those, so I don't really see them that often. So that was a bit of a novelness, but otherwise, it's just a story that doesn't go anywhere. It's gonna fall off my list. Next is another gamer fic with Naruto: The Gamer Files by Max Fic. This one, obviously, Naruto flavored. And similar to the previous story, takes itself seriously, so it's all story and plot progression where you're going to get enjoyment from. But this time, we actually get that story and plot progression. This one also starts slightly before canon, like a year, similar to the last one. It starts a year before canon. There is a difference where in the previous, the Harry Potter one, he died like near the end of the 7th book and was like restarted, so he knew what was going on. Whereas this one, it's just Naruto just wakes up one day with the thing when he's like a year before he would become a Genin. So there's a different level of knowledge. This gets up to basically the start of the Tsunade retrieval arc. And on the character side, this is a bit also different because Naruto is a lot friendlier with his classmates, mainly because he starts sharing his gamer power with everyone. He starts like partying up with almost everybody, and they also starts, you know, letting them set their stat points and leveling up in a sense that way as well. This does lead to a bunch of changes. Like, while we still get the main beats of the wave mission and the Chunin exams, there's definitely changes compared to canon, which, you know, are always welcome. The problem is like this story just never engaged me. I was never like the whole time I was reading it, I was kind of bored, and I just never I didn't really want to keep continuing. I'm sure like this is on my list just because at the time I was in love with the whole gamer concept, and I'm sure like Naruto and Harry Potter were the main stories that I would read, so I just threw on like any gamer fic that I came across onto my list. But yeah, this one just I think does not hold up. It's again like a serious one that just didn't interest me. It's gonna fall off my list. And the last one for this video and for the year is The Vanquisher by AJ Frias. This is a Harry Potter crossover with Lord of the Rings, basically the movie versions, where Harry just like meets up with Luna after dealing with Voldemort, and they just get teleported to. She teleports them both to Middle Earth because it turns out she was an elf the whole time. This is just basically a Lord of the Rings +1 story, where Harry joins basically joins the Fellowship in near the beginning of the Two Towers, where he joins them when they're going to Rohan, and it's just that it's the movies with Harry also there adding a whole bunch of firepower to the Fellowship and doing a whole bunch of stuff. There's not much else to say about it. The author keeps Harry, like, he clearly states, like, there's going to be no pairings for Harry, so he forms, like, light friendships with the certain members of the Fellowship and such, but he basically keeps himself at a distance, and so there's no real character drama or, like, that kind of thing to get invested. It's just, hey, I'm here, and I'm going to help you guys for a bit and do this, and then the end comes, and it's like, the end is there, and it's just like, do you want to go back home? And then it ends. So that's like, oh, you can choose if he goes back home or not. It's like, but that's not a big deal. Didn't really make much of a reason for him to stay. It's not a conflict. Like, in my opinion, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't just head back home. Like, the only person that he's really would be leaving would be Luna, and even after that, they become like more casual friends, not even closer friends after this. So it's like, I think it's a fine retelling of the thing, and if you want a, you know, fic where the Fellowship gets a bit more of a bump and like easier time of it, you'll definitely be finding that here. I think it's fine. I just don't see a need to ever like revisit this, and like I don't think I would ever look for this again. It's gonna fall off my list. And there we have it. Fanfiction status time. I've now read 1,063 stories, and 496 of them have stayed on my list. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry this took so long from the previous video. I'll fully admit that this was on me. Like, it's very much just a lot of times I will get this was all just the fact that I didn't start. Like, I got intimidated by, in a sense, by like there's stories that were coming up where it's like, oh, it's like 300,000 words, and I'm like, I'm just not in the mood to start this story right now, and that just pushed it, and then it just took so long to get into this. Like, once I started reading these stories, I finished most of these videos and most of the stories in this video in like basically a week or so. But it's just sometimes I just don't get in the mood to start. I really hope that like this will go on, because like I don't want to do this forever. But yeah, I got 200 more stories to go. So yeah, I will be reading those, and as always, links to the stories are in the description, so give them a look for yourself. If any of this interested you, give them a look. If you want to, there's also links to the thread on the forum where I post this as well in written form, as well as a playlist for all the videos for this. So give them all a look, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.